We can bullshit until oh no, hey, what's up? That's the wrong button.
The Wrestling Mayhem Show. Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us and IndyWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you got to do, make it last. Wait for the perfect.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 881. Tuesdays, we've been talking about professionalized wrestling. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There's a Mad Mike around here somewhere. He had to go take care of some Mad Mike duties, but in the meantime, we do have a very, very special guest. I don't think I've had a conversation with our guest today since before COVID. It's been so long. It was probably at Replay FX when we ran into each other last back in the day. Though, if you're not local, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But you probably know what he's worked on. James Deighan is with us, founder of Mega Cat Studios. You probably know that because you probably know about the WrestleQuest game that's out and about that's made the waves over the last couple of months. James, how you doing this evening?
Hey, Mike. I think the last time I saw you was we were in line at the Peterson Event Center before an AEW show.
Oh, my God. I think so.
Yeah. Maybe
So I have seen you since COVID. Okay, that works out really well.
Yeah, just briefly in passing. But, yeah, it was actually it was Brittany's first AEW match. Remember?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah, I remember talking about that. Yeah. All right. And then fashionably rolling in, sauntering in, Mad Mike, the only Mayhemmer with the future endeavored letter from the WWE from Hopewell Junction, New York. I almost said PA. I don't know where. and he's getting
Yes.
your Zoom's getting a little
PA,
jumpy,
yes.
but your Zoom's getting a little jumpy. I think it's that shirt. Look at this shirt. Are those all Macho Men?
Yeah.
Where did you get
They're all
that?
Macho Men.
That's amazing.
It's a Roosevelt shirt.
Roosevelt. Okay. There's a.
Yeah.
I'm like doing a Where's Waldo on this right now. We got some.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of different Macho
Some
Men.
classic Star tights. We got the America Macho Man. We got the got an elbow drop over there. We got an NWO Macho Man. That is fantastic. It's also probably killing the compression on your Zoom call.
Wow.
So, that's okay. We have Chilla would come on, and you know those shirts that like seem like they're kind of like that sketchy like fuzz pattern. You know, TV fuzz pattern that just completely trip out a camera. Like he would come on there and we're just like, listen, you are murdering everybody's bandwidth right now on this thing. So anyways, we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about the WrestleQuest game. I have so many questions. I've been playing it. Mike, you've been playing it. You've been playing a good bit, right? So
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far in it because I'm not used to these kinds of games, but
Mhm.
I've
a
been
learning
playing.
curve. There's like, okay, menus plus, no, but see, we'll get into it, but it reminds me of the old, I played the cell phone TNA game back in the day a little bit. So I'm ready for a little bit of wrestling RPG. But first let's talk about, there was some wrestling, this is also video game related because NXT had brought back the No Mercy brand. And James, did you happen to see the intro that they did for this on social media or anything?
Yeah, I saw the Reddit headline initially. Pulled me right in, dude.
Yeah,
You know?
right?
Yeah.
Right? Well, see, we had a little clue because what's his name that does the commentary? Vic, is it? I can't remember his name.
Vic Joseph.
Vic
yeah.
Joseph. He was talking about it, and then right as he's doing like the match announcements and everything, he goes dickety dog, and No Mercy's coming to Bakersfield, and I'm just like, wow, that's like a deep pull. And then turns out, obviously, the video, with the whole No Mercy thing. When Becky and Tiffany Stratton were fighting up in the crowd, I finished the show this morning because with travel this weekend, it was actually funny. I was in San Jose and left the afternoon that Rob was coming to town, and like I was in Denver the day after AEW. It was like I was chasing the wrestling this weekend, but I was this close to running up to San Francisco for the house show, but I didn't figure out the time in time. But anyways, there was somebody like a big like N64 cover art with the NXT guys on it in the crowd. So I love that. I love that they're doing the callback, and of course, like NXT is like the perfect place to do that kind of thing, right? Right, Mike?
Yeah, pretty much. They remind me of when they did the In Your House bit, and it was Johnny Gargano checking his security system.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. And then walking out through the door. We got a Halloween Havoc coming up again. They resurrected Great American Bash. Like it's like how does NXT is like this great homage brand right now, right? So and it's pretty great. So No Mercy was this weekend. Of course, headline was main event was Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch in the hardcore Extreme Rules match. Excuse me, right? Is that the official branding, Mike?
Yes, Extreme Rules.
That's the official line.
Yeah, because the pinfall has to be in the ring.
That's the difference. It was a great show. Somebody was saying going into the show, like this felt like an old Takeover era show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd say so.
So, but it's
Probably
really
helps that a 4 Horsewomen was on it.
it definitely a little bit, yeah. I mean, they definitely got a little bit of pop from bringing like some main. But between her and they had Dominic on the show too. So
And Butch.
And, do you think it also helps that they don't tour anymore? Well, I guess they're getting back to touring now, but like generally they're still all the shows are from Orlando. They're and it's
Well, they do live shows.
They do live shows in Florida, but they're still doing like the Armory circuit, right? Like they're not doing touring like they used to.
They didn't really tour all that much.
Not much, no, but we would get them.
They didn't tour all.
We
that
would get
much.
them here in Pittsburgh. Like they were getting up there. Like they would probably have like a weekend of out of Florida touring a month, right? So like they were building up to that WWE full status, but
They're also doing more live shows, so maybe that has something to do with it too.
True. So I don't know. I think that kind of spikes things like that when they do these big arena shows because it's really kind of like jarring to go from like the Performance Center to where they've had Raw, for something like that. So, but it's cool because it makes it feel big, and they still do a lot to make those feel like big shows. Mike, what were your highlights for the show other than the women at the end?
Well, I love the women's match. I love that it main evented. Take notes, Tony Khan. Let's see what else. Dragunov and Carmelo, just fantastic. I mean, good for Dragunov. I'm curious to see where that goes from here, like where Carmelo goes. It's already taking us to interesting places for next week. But yeah, it's cool to see a title change. Everyone loves a good title change. It freshens up the whole scene. I love the tag match because I'm a big mark for Tony D, the Don of NXT.
Yes.
I was scared that he actually legit got hurt in the match. Pleased to find out it was all part of the story. Yeah, just the whole. Oh, and the opener with Braun and Corbin. Ooh. They beat the crap out of each other.
Baron Corbin coming out on the motorcycle was nice. I always like a good motorcycle entrance, though. I'm kind of I'm kind of a mark for that one. So no, it was a lot of fun.
He's feeling out on me in the chat room by him refusing to acknowledge what he's saying.
Yeah, no, we will not acknowledge Zeke in this instance.
We will not acknowledge Zeke.
No. But yeah, no, I was really happy with a lot of that kind of stuff, and I love the Braun Taker setup going through the table. and a lot of other things happening there. So I don't know. It's all a blur still. I was watching it sitting on my luggage in the airport last night, so I'm still trying to absorb some of it. So they're doing Deadline. They're doing a Halloween Havoc later this month. They did a lot of setup this evening.
2-week Halloween Havoc.
A 2-week Halloween Havoc. What did they do? What did they do last year? Because did Shotzi come back and host it last year? I seem to recall. Or
I think she hosted it. Yeah.
Are we going to bring back Chucky since we're on USA Network? They did do that. Braun Breaker and Chucky.
Oh, Chucky and Braun Breaker would be the best friends now.
Okay.
But I have a feeling we're going to see Von Wagner return in some sort of a mask.
Okay.
Based on what happened when Braun like accidentally really injured his head.
I missed fill people in that maybe didn't see No Mercy.
Oh no, this wasn't from No Mercy. This is from NXT a couple of weeks ago. This is what led to the Corbin and Braun feud.
Mm-hmm.
Braun basically grabbed the steel steps, the top part of it, and went to slam it on Braun's head, and the camera feed cut away because he actually connected.
Mm-hmm.
Like the camera feed was supposed to cut away, and he wasn't supposed to connect, but he actually did. Give Vaughn a pretty decent gash in his head.
Oof.
And had to get staples and whatnot.
Oof.
It was pretty bad. But I have a feeling Mr. Stone is probably going to end up being like Mr. Frankenstone, and Vaughn is going to become Frankenstone's monster or something. I don't know. I just have a feeling that's where we're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that should be interesting. And next week's NXT. Oh boy, Sorg, we're gonna be busy next Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Tuesday Night Wars are going on. We are gonna have Dynamite and NXT on the same night because they're gunning for us, Mike. They're gunning for us once again.
You know, they've realized we've gotten too popular.
Mm-hmm.
So WWE is like, well, let's throw Asuka on there. Let's throw John Cena on there. Let's throw Paul Heyman on there. And AEW is like, oh, we can't compete with the Mayhem show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's sign Edge just for this purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. It is Edge on that night, or Adam Copeland. Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
He will always be Edge to me. And they basically did everything but call him Edge. We'll talk about that here later in the show. When we get
he's
to
already
it.
trademarked Ledge and.
No.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Hey,
No,
however you need to work, just because he copyrighted doesn't mean he's using it. Gotta get past creative on that. What about? No, seriously, there's a lot of things copyrighted that don't get used.
I'm seriously shocked that WWE let the trademark on Radar Superstar.
Yeah, that is interesting.
That's what
isn't
I'm
it?
shocked about.
That is very interesting. I need to.
And Tina said Cody's gonna be on NXT as well.
There's no room for NXT people on NXT next week.
Well, Cody, if I am guessing, Cody's probably going to announce the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. If I had to bet.
Will they do that now since they're right in the middle of the breakout tournament?
Sure.
Really?
It doesn't have to start. He can announce that it's going to happen like after Halloween Havoc.
Okay.
And culminate at Deadline or something.
Yeah, because that was usually.
He can announce that he's going to be part of it.
That young upstart Cody Rhodes getting in on NXT.
Hey, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won it 1 year, so.
That's true. That is true.
Anything's possible.
That is true. But I think weren't they on the roster, or did they come down and win it?
They were both former champions, though.
Oh, jeez. What about former NXT champions?
Former NXT champion.
Yeah.
At that point.
Man.
But one thing I thought was going to happen, and I guess it still could. I thought when they were showing the people in the breakout tournament, I thought one of them was going to be attacked by Jade Cargill. And she was going to announce that she's in the tournament.
Wouldn't that be great?
It could happen next week.
And just watch her destroy everybody in that tournament.
It could happen next week when we're head-to-head with Dynamite.
That'd be the perfect place for Jade to pop up.
By the way, next week, Tony Khan, if NXT beats Dynamite in the ratings,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be because of women's wrestling.
No.
Sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's
No.
going to be. They had like 4 or 5 matches tonight
Mm-hmm.
in the women's division.
It's going to be 3 segments of Sky Blue because she's supposed to be the top-rated person on AEW.
I thought that was Julia Hart.
I think both of them are like the
Okay.
top 2, which is weird, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's the word from the dirt sheets. So take that with a grain of salt, of course. But Jade is rumored for the Fastlane pay-per-view, says Brandon in the chat room from KC. So yeah, it's going to be a good night of wrestling, and I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to... we're going to get some screens in here. Okay, we're going to double screen this thing. It's going to be just like Monday Nitro.
There were NXT tonight went 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back women's matches.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and considering how
That's
many women
impressive.
they have, holy crap. Interested to see what's going to happen there. So, well, anyways, I'm also interested to see what you guys think. Hit us up at that email address. Good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. That got a little truncated there. I don't know what happened with that. And of course, hit us up.
I was trying not to blow out the Zoom.
All the social medias, whether it be at Mayhem Show or Wrestling Mayhem Show on all the social medias. We're trying to be everywhere a little bit so you can converse with us. But, of course, a lot of the great discussions happening at the Facebook chat over on the Facebook group as well. And we are live every Tuesday-ish at 9 or 10 o'clock or so, depending on what what the hell is happening next week. We may not even get on going until like 10:30 because there's a lot of wrestling to digest next week. And I'm sure they'll do rollovers and all that kind of stuff. What am I going to do next Wednesday? Shit. We got a Wednesday off, guys. From wrestling watching, at least. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, and I'm in the wrong document. This is the other podcast. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. First of all, I know the first one is always Bo Diggity! Woo! As well as Ed Burke, Team Hammerfist, and Bobby F. J-Town. At the Poppy Club level, Dave Propod Podner, spouse of Rooster Julia Fair at roosterjuliafair.com. And Rats in a Trench Coat, Tony Kincaid. And at the Pizza Club level, Doc Remedy, The Riz, and the newest Patreon supporter, Lance Fisher. And at the manager level, Bradley, who I know I saw in the chat room a little bit earlier, so I hope he's still hanging out with us. Thank you, guys. You can support the show, patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. And, of course, we do the post-talk where I think last week we talked Expendables and God knows what else with Ronnie Starks when he made a run-in back to the show here. So when we caught up with him a little bit. So enjoy that. If you're a part of our Patreon, for as little as $1, you can get all that extra content and support the show. So we have our special guest, James, here from Mega Cat. And of course, with the big release here, I was very excited when I saw this trailer and saw you guys' name attached to it for WrestleQuest. So for those that maybe don't know, can you explain the Cliff Notes? What is the WrestleQuest game?
So WrestleQuest is the world's first pro wrestling JRPG. So it takes all the high fantasy of like a Toy Story nostalgia bomb, but it's all through like a wrestling universe with a wrestling lens. So think of it as a Toy Story meets wrestling with like hardcore RPG mechanics.
That was the interesting thing that getting into it, because it was just like, oh, these are toys. Like these are wrestling toys looking up to the real wrestlers, right?
Right.
Like that was kind of like an interesting angle to take on things.
A lot of reasons for it, but I'd say like we really wanted to explore like insane over the top like parts of wrestling. Like we wanted Andre the Giant to be able to pick the ring up and break it in half. We wanted the Road Warriors to have like a Mad Max like vehicle. We wanted gimmick matches to be extreme, and we also wanted to have a lot of liberties to keep it family friendly. So we have things like analogs for steroids, but in our case, it's super glue, and we were able to just really merit like what we really wanted on the player base by using this toy based kind of exploration. But when we first started this, you asked me at the very start of this, prior to the actual podcast kicking off, Mike, is this the same game that we were talking about years ago? And it is, because when we started looking at how do we create a unique visual identity, how do we make it feel and look unique, part of that exploration was, if you're making 32 pixel height characters, how do you make them stand out in a world that's had 30 years now of retro wrestling games? So that's actually when we stumbled on the toy opportunity. Is for a lot of our friends and colleagues we were interviewing to kind of take their temperature on it. We realized a lot of them, their fondest memories of growing up with wrestling with the toys. I'm like, this might be the unifying opportunity here. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I can't believe that it's out sometimes, since it's been 4 years in the making. And
Oh yeah.
just so much content, so many challenges.
I just realized I'm in make your entrance mode right now. I've been rolling through this little by little as been going. Would have had a few minutes here. Yeah, and I love that, because I guess it gives a reason for that little style, right? You know, the wrestlers aren't being weirdly. I'm thinking, what was it, WWE 2K Battleground a few years ago? Mike and I think debated a little bit on how everybody looked a little too gify. I love the style of something like that. I love the take this thing, make it a chibi wrestler, right? And I know a lot of people like the realism kind of idea, right? So I love that kind of take on something like this. So tell me about like you've some pretty big classic names in this as well, and I know we've seen like Retrocade come out in Retromania, thank you, come out in the last few years. Has a lot of the interesting classic names mixed with the newer indie wrestlers and everything like that. I know. Listen, I think I entered your office one time and saw a giant Hulk Hogan picture, in the meeting room. I knew I was in the right place. So how was it trying to kind of connect and getting some of these old names involved in something like this?
Yeah, it's definitely been some of the least fulfilling adventure, I'd say, is trying to make sure that we're there's a few things about how we managed talent that I think is just really unique. Like, I know factually we gave them significantly higher royalties than they've ever had in a game. We also gave them the opportunity to actually get close to production. You have to imagine a lot of these guys in their 60s and 70s don't really have a big love for video games, but they're also at a phase now in their careers that they're really not given a ton of significant opportunities beyond WWE, both because of their expectations commercially and like the reverence that they have for their brand and their management and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun, because we've been able to spend a lot of time actually working closely with folks like Jeff Jarrett or Sergeant Slaughter. And, Sarge went with us to San Diego Comic-Con. We had a ton of great days together. And he's probably one of the more interesting personalities we ever get a chance to work with too. And he has the G.I. Joe background and the wrestling background. So as you walk through
that's amazing. You're doing an action figure based video game with a walking G.I. Joe.
He's he's at the intersection.
Exactly.
And he actually gets quite a bit of screen time in WrestleQuest. But we have an area there called the Glory Fields that kind of pays homage to the idea of in different toy sets, there's a military toy set that extends beyond wrestling. And how do we put Sergeant Slaughter at the middle of that? But it's definitely been a ride, making sure that we're diligently doing everything that the estates needed or that the current wrestlers have, and making sure that we're being respectful to WWE's properties with costumes, colors, stories, and all the other pieces to surround it. Because it's not as simple as, we're working with Macho Man Randy Savage. It's we can't touch King Macho, right? You can't touch certain color combinations and certain logo interpretations. And
do you get I remember working with some corporate companies, and you kind of get a style guide. Do you get kind of an anti-style guide of trademarks or something like that?
It's much more complex than that.
Okay, all right.
We actually had to hire 2 separate law firms that specialize in video game trademarks to help interpret it, because the really natural path would have been we actually just do a double license through WWE, and then they could sub-license it out. And in hindsight, probably could have saved a couple gray hairs doing that. But and actually, the original concept was for us to license it through the WWE. And the person who was running licensing then ended up moving on to the NFL. And we kind of got lost in the shuffle along the way. So that's how we ended up just going ahead with our own vision to kind of make it come to life despite the limitations there. But man, it's been crazy. It was architected as a way to have our love for RPGs and wrestling both addressed, because they've been on our company wish list for a long time. And I guess the origin of that's we always want to make a wrestling game. We always want to make a JRPG. We thought this could be interesting because not only to storytelling.
And this is your first JRPG.
Technically, we've done some other games in the same space, but never this size.
And for those who don't know, like you have a track record of several game releases over the years. Can you share with the audience that don't know about you guys, like what kind of games that you're usually putting out? I know. The James is a serial entrepreneur and has a lot of fingers and a lot of pies here. We'll just put that there. But video games is one of the well, actually, a lot of them are very interesting to me at least. But for the case of this show, what other kinds of games have you guys put out before this?
It's funny. MegaCat's been my 90% focus now for 100% for the last 3 years. So I sold 2 of the other businesses, and one of them I ended up kind of downsizing to a fractional effort. But we've released 73 games the last 6 years, and quite a few of those games have been work for other people, for Hasbro, Atari, Mattel, and Nickelodeon. And then separately, we do quite a bit of our own retro games. So if you look at our website, you'll see tons of authentic retro cartridges for Nintendo, Sega Genesis, things like that. And then what we call indie retro, which is things like WrestleQuest or Coffee Crisis, Log Jammers. So we've explored maybe 20 genres at this point, but all different levels of sophistication. So like a casual roguelike, like we released a game early this summer for Renfield, the Nicolas Cage vampire movie.
Really?
And it's a unique take on the genre, because it has this kind of bullet heaven, they call it, auto roguelike mechanic. But roguelikes take many permutations depending. Are you more Risk of Rain? Are you Nuclear Throne? Are you
And roguelikes, for those that don't know,
roguelikes are, in this case, ours is like a top-down like shooter with the roguelike elements are all procedurally generated and kind of randomized pools of locations, areas, weapons, modifiers to enemies. So every time you kind of roll the dice, logically, not literally, you're going to get different modifiers for the enemies, different levels, different outcomes, and
you're not playing the same game twice. Basically, it's really kind of.
And also, test your skill. It gives you unique skill gates, and we had some great headlines for that game because the movie didn't do so well. So we got some interesting headlines that said
it was a very fun movie, though. I
totally
loved it.
So by the way,
loved it.
I think the movie is going to be like a cult classic. I think it's going to find legs later. But
it's I know it's on Peacock last I knew, so I highly recommend it if you guys are out there on Peacock. Well, if you're watching wrestling, you already got Peacock, so just go do this. And
I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan.
Oh yeah,
somewhere on our bucket list, we knew we wanted to do a Nicolas Cage something. So. But the Renfield game was interesting because we got a lot of headlines saying like, hey, by the way, if you don't like the movie, check out the game. It's better. And wasn't my dream outcome. But
just like Wolverine Origins.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
But basically, it's been a journey. And as we gotten deeper and deeper into MegaCat, we try to find the intersection of like we'll call it like accessible retro, that if you're a busy dad or a casual gamer or you're a crazy hardcore like speedrunner, pro gamer, there's something here that has skill checks and accessibility that's just fun at a basic level. So we try to tap into that. Like, would we want to play this game? And it sounds really simple, but running a business built around like games that are very passion driven, that have a commercial opportunity, is like a massive effort all the time. And games are a hit based industry. It's like if someone sat down and said, hey, you play guitar, make me a hit single. And
what is it? Well, so it's like any art. You do the thing because you love it,
right,
and hope you get the thing that helps you pay the bills with it, right? It just, your thing takes many developers to pull off versus a single artist, musician, etc. Right?
Has all the rigidity of software and all of and all of like the complexities that come with like the teams.
Yes.
WrestleQuest has 70 people that worked on it. Like it has 60 hours of critical path content. 80 if you explore deeper, and it's just the word count. 150,000 words. Yeah, it's like 2 years of writing, right? It's like 2 novels worth. It's just there's just so much goes into it, but it's
all those fantastic promos that you get to pick in the promo battles.
You just gotta love
all those names that you have to make up.
Dude, there's 500 names. Just for some of the NPCs we made up. It's easily the most fun we've ever had, and
Is this the biggest game?
Oh yeah. We definitely overscoped it. We could have. In hindsight, we probably should cut the content in half and just had it be like content over time, but we just loved it too much, man. So
you're just like, I almost want to put this out for everybody to jump into.
Yeah, and we won probably 20 different independent show awards, best of show, best gameplay. So we kept running these features, and when the team's vibing, when they're loving it, and the fans are loving it, which is really
Yeah.
your indication of like, is this going to work? So we just kept going, and someone should have at one point grabbed like the cartoon cane to be like, why don't you just call it here? But we're happy with how it came out. We're doing a ton of post-launch quality of life updates, and we have some big news we hope to announce in the next 6 weeks. Some DLC plans. So
Okay.
there's a lot there if you're a WrestleQuest supporter. There's a lot coming.
That's nice. That's nice. And also multi-platform. It did. I was amazed to see it was on basically everything.
Yeah.
Including like the Netflix thing surprised me as well. You know, so like that's. And I know Mike, you've been playing it on the Switch, I think, right? So that seems like the perfect thing for the Switch.
Yeah, I'm trying to loading on mine right now, but I was playing it right before we were starting up.
Big Switch update coming next week. We actually have some of the new quality of life features that are rolling over from.
Nice.
Look at you showing off, dude. Nice Switch.
There he is. There he
Oh,
is.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a match when we were starting the podcast, so I'm like, well, I'll just cool it off here for now. Then
Awesome.
get my ass kicked.
Are you in Jungleology? Is that the location you're in? I saw
No, I was in the Dead Drop Hill.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, my world's been crazy the past couple weeks, but I've been trying to get my gaming in when I can.
Yep, yeah, we were talking about those time constraints earlier. So, but this is like the perfect thing to like if you guys switch or something, like you can just click up and play a couple matches and project a story a little bit.
When I'm at New York Comic Con in a week and a half, that I'm going to get some serious time in.
Oh yeah,
because I'll be waiting on a lot of lines.
That's great. You better be sporting your Macho Man shirt, playing WrestleQuest. In line for, I don't know what you're in line for then. What's your
Danhausen.
For Danhausen? Perfect.
Sure, probably.
Perfect. Side note, just because we're on video games, I saw that, first of all, I doesn't want to complain about the AEW game. I never know when DLC comes out, and I didn't know Danhausen was released, and you can pull him out as a weapon from
They didn't know when DLC came out.
Yeah, exactly, apparently. And they could pull out Danhausen from under the ring as a weapon, and it'll attack you. So...
Oh, boy.
No, it's fantastic. But okay, back to your game. So, you got it together. You've been doing all these awards. How's the response been since it's gotten in everybody's hands, including Mike over there?
Yeah, I mean, last week we had more reviews and more hype than we had since even launch in late August.
Great numbers I've been seeing so far. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's a constant. The wheels turning. You know, it's like the way it normally works when we release a game is the 2 months that follow the release are actually harder than the release because you're suddenly getting like hundreds of thousands of eyes and ears and emails and fan mail and Google Voice phone calls, and I'd say the most engaged people are either your super fans or your super trolls, and they're going 1v1 face versus heel to see who can get the corners of the internet with you. But it's we've been just taking the feedback in and putting together these fan service, quality of life, and feature roadmaps. And every time we've dropped a patch, which has been probably 5 patches since launch, there's just been this like consistent pulse of wrestling fans showing up, which we got turned down by many publishers for this game. Everybody who brought the game to basically said there's no audience intersection between the blue collar wrestling fan and the RPG white collar thought player, and it's a recurring thing. And it's funny because everyone knows there's a big wrestling audience, but because it has never been explored outside of like CCGs and simulation gaming, it's not proven. And anything that has rare air,
they've literally advertised for like Final Fantasy games on WWE, haven't they?
So there's a gaming audience crossover, but
yes.
I mean, I guess the way I'd look at it is this: like WWE is a marketing partner, checks a box.
Yeah.
But a non-WWE licensed
how do you push it?
Project in a genre that's never been explored.
Yeah.
Are we talking to too many audiences? Are you talking to a wrestling fan? Are you talking to a JRPG fan? How much do they intersect?
Yeah.
Are JRPG fans going to be let down because there's not enough dungeons and there's not enough like traditional medieval high fantasy? There are a lot of questions on the audience segmentation that we paid for a Nielsen research study. We did tons of audience breakouts. Like we did endless number of our own focus groups and attempts to kind of validate there's an audience here. And finally we met the Skybound folks, Walking Dead, Invincible, and their creative director at the time, who now is with another company. He was a massive wrestling fan, So we got his attention early, and I said,
That's like, who's the wrestling fan in the company that has some pull, right?
That's right. And I remember in our follow-up a few weeks after the pitch, I'm like, by the way, we did sign like Macho Man, Under the Giant, Road Warriors, Jeff Jarrett, Booker, and I remember bringing the list out and showing them the art of like the action figure aesthetic and the way we were using the IP in a unique way, and fitting this autobiographical storytelling while also like establishing this like really high fantasy, really playful nostalgia bomb. And he was like, okay, this is a crazy prospect, but how about we just here's the new terms we're going to propose. And they gave us terms that weren't the terms we loved, but they were like the terms we had of one person who was willing to like support the go-to-market, which allowed us to focus on carrying the risk for production and then building the dream game we wanted. So that was just the beginning of the journey. In the end, we thought it was actually the end, but constant hurdles to hop with legal. And at one point, we had two wrestlers in the game that ended up selling their estates to the WWE, which we couldn't have predicted. So we had to retroactively yank out a ton of content. And since it's a story-driven game, it's not the same for us as yanking out.
You got to rewrite all that.
Yeah, it's not the same as yanking out a character. Like,
yeah.
If I would have made a simulation game, we could have just hot swapped it and been cool. Here we go. But in our case, it was a pretty significant multi-month effort each time. And then by the time we got to the end, we were just so done with the estate wrangling and the wildness of some of the wrestlers. We're like, can you guys just behave for like 6 months and finish this? And
well, that sounds like so. It's like you had a business version of what I deal with on indie shows all the time.
Dude, it wasn't for Jeff Jarrett, I don't know what we would have done. He was like a constant cornerstone of like mentorship of
So, and this is, and I keep hearing that constantly. For whatever we think of Jeff Jarrett, seeing him on our TVs every week,
the best,
But
yeah.
like, I had a great experience business-wise with him for a brief stint. I have several friends that have worked with him on projects, including all the way back to Global Force Wrestling, and I hear nothing but good things from him on the business work side.
Dude, he's a stud. It's
yeah.
How about this? Like, one of my favorite experiences about WrestleQuest was the fact that as you became acquainted with talent, and you could really get to know them, there was this brothers in arms kind of validation that if you're friends with X and you pass their sniff test, the next one was very easy. And I thought for sure there would be some polarization around, Jeff, third generation promoter, like, and there wasn't. Like, every single talent we'd meet just like loved Jeff, and it didn't matter the generation or the background, and it didn't matter if they were like Sergeant Slaughter legends, or they were indie folks in the come up.
The Jarretts were known and they were beloved, or at least respected.
Man. And it's like everywhere Jeff would go to, like, he would just draw fans. Like, I would say that Jeff was the de facto standard for what became our executive wrestling producer, because he could look at the business lens, he could look at the wrestling knowledge. He was deeply respected by all the talent, and he could help manage some of the crazier parts that you only get to do if you're behind the scenes a lot. And he might be the biggest wrestling fan I've ever met. And I like have so many team members that like live wrestling. Yeah. But he can outmark any of us.
And that's the best guys. That's the best guys in the business.
Yeah, crazy.
And girls in the business. Absolutely. I love it. Well, let's take a little quick of a breather here, and I kind of want to get into the game and show off a little bit, and you can kind of walk us through what's going on with this stuff. But in the meantime, if you're tuning in with us, we like that. We love wrestling so much. We like to film it on the weekends, and a lot of that stuff's at IndyWrestling.us. We actually got a big weekend coming up next weekend here in October. We're gonna have a double feature streaming. Our friends at Renegade Wrestling Alliance, as well as Victory Championship Wrestling, I forgot what the C was, are both going to be streaming the same weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Not this weekend, the next weekend. I don't remember the dates off the top of my head, but look forward to that. I know already signed friends of the show, John McChesney taking on J-Rock at RWA, and of course they're going to have Ricardo Rodriguez at VCW coming up here, and a few other big surprises. Looking forward to that. So go check all that stuff. You support IndyWrestling.network, or if you're a part of our YouTube members over on the IndyWrestling.us YouTube, you can check out those shows live when they come up here next weekend. So much stuff going on there. New releases, new VODs for Revenge Pro Wrestling in the last month, including the main event was Bill Collier against Katie Arquette. and it was something. It was something. Go check that out. A lot of fun shows coming from Erie and the like, and of course all the great content that you love over at IndyWrestling.us. A lot of free matches dropping up here soon, and also we're starting to put a lot of matches over on the Facebook as well. So keep an eye on that. If you live more on the Facebook than YouTube, that we have a lot of our friends from 880 matches are going to be on there, and of course we're live every Thursdays with Thursday Night Fights as part of our apprentice program. So let's get into this. I guess I'm still only hitting tutorial stuff in this thing. Listen, man.
You got 15 systems. You can't.
I got
jam
15.
tutorials.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. Where am I going to go with this? So I'm in the snow level here. I think I think it's my first tag team match actually. So I love this. So what is I said I played the TNA old phone game. So that's like my first RPG experience with this, kind of things. And I'm not an RPG person. So menus kind of baffle me sometimes. So you go in here. I want to set up a strike here. Oh wait, I got to pick up who I'm attacking. Was that Hygge Boy Lars and Flars and Flars is who I'm fighting here.
Yeah, we got the Hygge boys here. So
Boys.
Hygge's like a like a meta lifestyle, all about comfort. So they're wearing incredibly comfortable sweaters, and
They look comfortable. Yeah,
they're in the Great North.
And my
part of their gimmick.
And my tag partner is a moose with a hockey stick named Stag Logan.
Well, yeah. We're Brink, he's one of the notable Canadian wrestling families. Fifth generation. Stag is his tag team partner. Can't get more Canadian than a moose, so we just wanted to bring that to life here. So this is actually your first boss battles. The way we represented boss battles in WrestleQuest. Well, everything, we call it the wrestleification of the JRPG. So everything here is like has a wrestling analog. So instead of using a key to get through a dungeon, you get a table spot token. We spawn a table and you slam an NPC through it. That's how you get it. Right? So like your boss battles are main event matches. So this is a main event match at a northern promotion here. We have a territory system in the game. So each area of the map is a territory. So in this territory, Brink and Stag are your workers. And the Hygge boys here, Lars and Flars, they're like a big draw. So you're doing the job right now. You're put on your event. And the way that takes place is there are the spots. That's how the match you have to hit. You hit the high spots. That's part of the script. And that's how I'm going to say the character has skill gates to teach them new abilities and also challenges them to, kind of like have some agency around. Are they going to be heel or face? Are they going to follow the storyline? Are they going to take their own path? And some of these boss battles are purposely.
They just take a drink of hot chocolate and slam it on the ground.
Yeah, he's incredibly comfortable. Yeah, his whole gimmick is deep comfort, right? So
deep comfort. So
we have we have a lot of gimmicks in here that we tried to explore, kind of paying some homage to, some of our favorite silly things in wrestling in the 80s and 90s, and then some things that are like on trend now that are culturally relevant. That if there's an independent promoter somewhere that's wondering about, like, is there a deep comfort tag team opportunity? Can I play this? And it's there's just a lot of fun coming up with some of these pieces because our community helped support quite a bit of it. But 4 years of effort. Every trade show, every person we met along the way plays a role somewhere in this. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the day that somebody's because there's a lot of rip-off gimmicks out there in wrestling? Would you be amazed if there's a Lars and Flars looking?
Dude, I hope so.
Big sweater. Like, is this your calling card to like independent wrestling to please steal our ideas a little bit?
It's funny because one day into the game being out, someone sent us a few links of people like pirating our T-shirts.
Oh yeah,
of like some of the fake promotions we had invented and things like that, and then. We have trademarks for our main characters, like our Muchacho Man, the Luchador, and things like that. And we had maybe 2 weeks after, we had someone send us pictures of this like third-party, effort to make a line of wrestling action figures that ripped off several of our designs.
No way.
And I was like, first of all, I hope they sell them and I can buy one because this is dope. And then at the same time, you think to yourself. I'm so glad that someone likes this enough that they want to pirate this and make it. But like, God, I wish we would have had our own action figures, But in the end, we'll leave those things to Skybound. We're just here to make the games.
There are definitely some licensing opportunities here, right?
Yeah, there's been a significant number of independent probably 50 independent promotions over the last year and a half. We actually just did a cool activation with the Premier Wrestling folks. And, you know, we can't turn a corner without some other wrestling fan saying, hey, by the way, like, what if we did X and you do Y in the game? And then we have to break down, like, I don't know what your production costs, but here's what ours costs and here's how long it takes. So if we would bring this to life, it'd be hard for us to find a way to both, you know, make the skill balance out. And in most cases, they're like, well, it doesn't matter. Please, let's do something. So we found some really unique ways to work with some of our other, you know, friends and colleagues we've met across independent wrestling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there any, not to give away stories or deeper in the game or anything, are there any big surprises to seek out for people that are playing this game that you could share to like that are going to make people want to kind of get deep into this game?
You know, you have to imagine that with 150,000 words, there's a lot of Easter eggs packed in here. But I'd say one of my favorites is like halfway through, there's a hair versus hair match, and one of the opponents is a sheep. And I don't want to spoil it, but he might get sheared, right? Okay. And it's like his the art representation of that sheep looking kind of like sulking with his head down, just like his coat's been sheared. Yeah. It's just one of my favorite images our team had created. It just cracks me up still, and we have some fun stuff happening this year in Movember for for some mustache-based activities too. But,
oh no!
You know what's funny is like.
So is there going to be like seasonal content like that happening?
We have some drops. It's just you know, right now we're.
I don't know if you got to the DDR version.
Oh, the mini game. Yeah,
you got into that.
You know, so the genesis of that, by the way. So there's a mini game where Muchacha Man, our core protagonist, you know, he's a independent wrestler, journeyman, trying to pay the bills, trying to make the come up. Sometimes he has to make some questionable decisions to make income. So there's like a strip club called Twisties where he basically has to do like a rhythm game to entertain the other toys. And he doesn't actually take any clothing off, but he really gets going with the moves. But you know, we had run a poll with our community, and we had a ton of people vote for it, and we sent out the GIF of it, mocked up. Then we had fans just going crazy. People love rhythm games, you know, but something about watching that action figure shake his hips gets people going. I've had crowds around trade show booths just like clapping for it. I'm like, why are they into this wrestling game so much, you know? But it's been so satisfying watching all of our wrestling people rise up from the woodwork because, you know, so many publishers close the door and so many people just keep saying, it's not really the perfect fit. Like, choose your path, wrestling or JRPG. You mentioned the TNA game. So a casual RPG, it's definitely different. Like, a true JRPG has a depth of progression to retain players over a significant number of hours. Like, we have 12 playable characters. It
was like a simple like flip phone game or something, right?
Which,
so like they were doing like the most they could, and just like you could do the moves by picking them and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love casual games. They fit a role in my life too. You know, but like the biggest risk in the project is that like JRPG fans are also like very, very dedicated to the craft of what they love. And there may not be a more vocal like subset of genre enthusiasts than like JRPG because it's so personal, because there's the storytelling and the depth of content. If you don't hit it, they will just tear you apart. And I'd say that some of the most satisfying things we've had is having like major JRPG influencers like seal of approval, cover it, put it in their multi-million user audience things and say, I recommend this game. It's great. And I can still feel like the team swelling with enthusiasm when we get coverage, because God, games are hard, you know? And it's like you're basically making them in a vacuum, and you're just praying that the fans love them as much as you do, and you're making all these decisions based on like, we make games for fans. We don't make games for ourselves. You just want to make games that ideally hit both. Like, can you make it something you love, that fans love, and how far down the fan path can you get to validate and see through all the feedback? Because like, you know, most of the feedback we get in WrestleQuest these days, after these first couple patches have been completed, is really just around like people wishing that their favorite wrestlers were in the game. I'm like, guys, we licensed like 50 wrestlers. Like, like I hope that there's enough commercial performance here that we can catch you in the sequel, you know, because there's definitely no lack of love on our side for it. And it's very likely we do a sequel. I certainly can't commit to it at this point, but we've had such a crazy amount of enthusiasm for it. On all corners too, like local press. It's the first game we've had. We actually got coverage from every paper, Pittsburgh Magazine, and it's like certainly not moving the needle, but we don't get a lot of coverage here in Pittsburgh for games. They don't cover game companies. There aren't many of us.
There's like you and Shell.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's it. And Shell's mostly known for the VR games, right? So
That's right. And if we put up it's funny, if I put up a job ad for the Pittsburgh office, 50% of the applicants think I'm catfishing them as on a real job. Because like there's not a games industry in Pittsburgh. There's like Shell and there's MegaCat, and Shell gets
which is weird because there's a tech industry here, right?
Yeah, but our tech industry historically is newer than other facets still.
Absolutely.
And then gaming is this weird intersection between art and technology. So it's almost like, it also has quite a bit of a bad rap because it's like, hey, gaming, good luck. It's crazy because it's all hit based. It's like making games that are commercially performant and also can stand the test.
And we're hearing about the big companies having problems. So.
Dude, yeah. And it's like, and customers, they don't care who made it.
Yeah.
They don't care if you had 50 people on it or 5,000. They don't care if it's a $1 million budget or a $50 million budget. All they know is that here's their favorite things in that genre. Here's the memories they have playing it. And if you can't hold a candle to it, eat it. So, we have a game coming out pretty soon that I'm cringing thinking about because the budget was miserable. And it was with like a major gaming publisher. And I remember telling the team when we signed it, we're going to do our best. We're going to push the limits of it. But it's not actually up to us on whether or not it's well received. The people directing the game, they have to take some of this responsibility because if you make a game for $300,000 and you're competing against people that make the same games for $30 million, like you either got to be a miracle worker or you got to set expectations in some other way because it's just not possible. It's like anything else. I'm just so glad it's over and it's out. It's like we have so many things have happened during the start and the end of like our company's grown 10 times the size. We've changed like internally significantly, like new departments have sprung up and have been adopted, and we've kind of continued to raise the bar of what we want into the quality of our games and the size of the games. And we just WrestleQuest ballooned with that growth to the point that we really should have cut some of the content out earlier, but it's like we just wanted to serve the fans.
I love you're sitting here telling me like we put too much content in this.
Well, it's the truth. It's like look at every game in the same genre. At that price point, we probably have double or triple the content of everyone else in the same comps, and it probably it's actually we actually got a Steam review recently from someone who was fatigued by completing the game because they were finding it entertaining enough they couldn't stop. But at one point, one of their characters that they fell in love with ended up having a bad heel turn. And
oh no!
And they were like heartbroken by it. We got like the equivalent of like love-hate mail from them. This multiple page letter of like, so I'm at hour 62. I'm just finishing it, and I wish you wouldn't have done X to Y. And it's and it was this real serious letter.
So I just looked up howlongtobeat.com, and this is labeled as like a 50-hour game.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
If you actually explore the side quests, pump it up even further, man. But it's that's up there like Assassin's Creed level. That's crazy. And it really
it took me 2 years to beat Odyssey. So
hopefully this doesn't happen, but. If you do get like pneumonia or something, you can really commit to a solid week. You can get it done, dude.
Well, see, I was hoping to play it on the 6-hour plane ride home last night, and then I realized, oh no, I need to log into Netflix to make this work, and I don't have internet.
You know what? First of all, the mobile experience is not the way to enjoy it. But what I could do as an exception is I could give you a dev build to give you some extra smooth sailing where you get some auto pin. Because there is like there's actually some accessibility options that everybody has in the retail version. You can turn on auto pin, and you can basically streamline and buff your character with the story. So if you want to play the story version, you can kind of enjoy the story without having to really put all the work in.
That's usually what I pick because I'm like I don't have time.
Wait, there's an auto pin?
Yeah, there's an auto pin feature in the settings menu.
Oh my god!
And you've had access to this the whole time.
Yes.
That's not too late. And actually, we have a big patch coming up for Switch it's currently on deck. It's on Steam live already, but also has auto QTE, so you can skip all the QTEs and they can all be automated. And it's funny, like all these trade shows, tons of positive reception, and then the game gets released and there's this incredibly vocal minority that just hates QuickTime events. I'm like, guys, we've literally given panels with like standing room only of people talking about how it was fun to keep it engaging and how much they love it. It reminds them of Super Mario RPG. And then there's this contingency of gamers that are just like, you put a QT in the game. You know, and it's they hate and the vitriol. And I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. We can put a toggle into it, but give us a few weeks. And it's, we have a couple customers that they're really dedicated, you know, but it's like, there's one person I'm thinking of right now that just every day it's messages on every platform, checking status updates. I'm like, my friend, I promise you, we'll get a personalized email from us the moment the patch is live for you.
Wow.
But it's like, it takes weeks for
but
Nintendo
you
to
don't
release
have.
a
But
patch.
and it's a beautiful thing is like you're still a smaller developer that can answer those emails.
Dude,
that's incredible.
It's a
like,
job. Yeah.
It is the indie wrestling of developers, you know, on that level, right? It's like I mean, I don't get to have a chance to talk to a guy that worked on Assassin's Creed,
no doubt,
which is probably the biggest game that I play that isn't like Street Fighter or WWE games or something, right? So like that's still incredible.
It's pretty awesome. It's the era of indies, you know. Like we can self-publish and bring it globally. The game's, you know, localized into Dutch languages. It's like it's funny. We have a fan that runs a Russian wrestling magazine that volunteered to rewrite everything in Cyrillic, you know, just for a copy of the game because it's on his bucket list to bring a wrestling game to his country. And I'm like, how do I say no to this guy, right?
Yeah,
it's like it's awesome, man. But the wrestling fans showed up in such a big way for us. Every event, you know, we had a wrestling ring at PAX East this year in Boston. We put on our own indie show at the video game event, and we had multiple times like shut down PAX East because the wrestling fan just showed up in such a big way. And every time we took a bigger wrestling risk, they would just show up again, and it's been such a crazy good experience.
So, because I remember this happening with Phil Singer Games, and I don't know if you did this at PAX East. Would we be able to see maybe sometime in the future a feature wrestling show with these characters represented?
Yeah, so, you know, it's funny. We've now had 2 different independent promotions we've gotten right to the 1 yard line with, and something gets stuck with legal or, you know, we have. It's crazy even saying this out loud. We have a legal team now. We have 3 lawyers. We have one that's dedicated full time, and it's like you think like, why would this independent game company need like full time internal counsel? And there's just so much going on all the time, Mike. Like I don't know how to say it.
That's the keep me out of trouble fee,
dude.
You know?
Dude, no doubt, man. And it's like I wish for an easier time in my life back when we first started. But I remember telling you about this before we made the game. I'm like, bro, we're gonna make this wrestling game, you know?
Yeah. No, I remember a lot of conversations like, what if it's this and this, and it's really cool to see a lot of those early ideas make it into the game. Yeah. What if it's this and it's about this, and then you know it's about like coming up and training and running a show and stuff, and just like, wow, that's a lot.
right.
and it's a lot. and holy crap, it's good to see you on the other side of this. WrestleQuest is available on all platforms, basically. Let's say every significant platform right now.
PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC, mobile.
There you go, man. That's
I will say the QuickTime events, I liked them when I first started, but now I'm like, I just want to get through it. I want to get through it.
Good news, dude. It's coming to all platforms. It's already been live on Steam.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
There you go. Hot news there for you.
Did patches like
and
on the record? It's not as easy as just adding a patch. Like you make the patch, then we test it because it's a 60 hours of content thing, right? So now someone's job for multiple weeks full time because they're doing laps is just playing WrestleQuest. Okay, then we submit it to the third party certifications, and then Nintendo has their third party engineering firm touch it. Then their internal, and then they schedule the canned release, and they say, hey, by the way, now that it's been 6 weeks, like here's the dates we can release it on. Let me know when you want to release it. So like this entire time that we're answering all these customer service messages, I'm just praying for Nintendo to get back to me, dude.
Yep.
Never as easy as it seems. But.
And wasn't there also like a thing Wasn't there also a thing where you guys had to delay the launch because you guys discovered a bug with the save feature, like at the last moment too?
Yeah, so we had 2 specific things happen. One, we haven't gone deep with that will be coming out news soon, but we signed a really great deal for WrestleQuest, for I think for fan service, for new content, that we wanted to have as a press beat that we thought we'd be able to include at launch. And because of that company, it's Japanese leadership and some comms issues, they wanted to delay the announcement of that press beat. But initially, we were going to be able to include some of that at launch. So that was the actual genesis of that delay. And then the second delay was we were doing final device compatibility checks for mobile, and there's like a company that did all the mobile porting that wasn't us, and they got a report back for Netflix, and there was just like a ton of issues, and we're like, guys, we can't deal with this. Like, what are we going to do if we release this thing that we've worked on for this many years, and now and in the end, Netflix agreed to a new date. We pushed to the new date, and the mobile experience is still a mixed bag at best, because with mobile games, there's so many nuances of device compatibility and testing that, and we didn't do any of that.
And it's Android and iPhone, which makes it more complicated.
Dude, and it's like, and the game is like, it's pixel art, right? But it's also giant maps with tons of gameplay. So like all that stuff still needs to sit in memory somewhere. So it's just been
and especially if lower end iPhones, lower end Androids,
dude,
I can't imagine. I was like, maybe I should install this on the cheap Android that I got for the business phone.
It'll just like melt your phone after.
I was like, and I was like, why is this taking? Oh no, this is a terrible mistake.
I would say that the best experience right now by far is on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, in that order. Switch definitely needs another patch or two, like just particularly if people want to play on Switch Lite. And it's all like very late game nuance stuff. None of it. There's no critical issues. There's no like gameplay blockers. But
you're not Cyberpunk.
Totally. There's some nice.
No. It's absolutely playable. I'm just excited for the QuickTime events
Yes.
going away. I'll send you guys some free.
That'll streamline everything.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. Again, check out WrestleQuest. Support our friends at MegaCat. Have been also always really great to us here at Sorgatron Media, and we really appreciate it. And of course, our mutual friend we were talking about before the show. Our mutual friend Victor Benjamin is returning to the cage. I think he was on with you last time you were on, right?
Oh yeah.
That we had him drop in. So it was we were kind of reminiscing about that because he's going back to MMA. It's going to be happening here in Pittsburgh in a couple of weeks. So definitely look out for that with our friends at 247 Fighting Championship, not wrestling. Sorry. Most of the stuff I'm doing this month is wrestling, so I got that on my brain. So, all right. Hey, we're going to take a really quick break, and then I think this guy named Adam showed up Sunday night in Seattle, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit for a couple minutes. We'll be right back after this.
Hightail it out of here at one point, thanks to DD Vice.
And these two teams, Brandon St. James on the outside.
Oh, wait a minute. Marcus Twist, DD Vice getting the jump in here.
Against KC War in the red and the white.
Any fairness in any VCW competition. Taking Brandon St. James, and I wonder,
Diving lariat, big impact of the Independence, Marcus Twist.
Oh!
Need appetizers.
Oh!
Does in fact look rocked and now possibly rolled. K-Rada.
Marcus Twist now taking DD lariat turn.
And this is absolutely unnecessary. They already won the match.
I didn't say anything.
Scheduled program. That jerk wanted to throw me in the way. They showed him.
We are back, Wrestling Mayhem show. Mad Mike, of course, from upstate New York with that sweet Macho Man shirt, which is... I didn't know if he was posing or if he was frozen. See, it's that shirt,
I was
man.
frozen a little bit.
It's too much machismo for the feed.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the Muchacho Man. So
That is true.
I had to represent.
I love how on brand you are, and of course, our friend James from MegaCat Studios. developer of the great WrestleQuest game. My God, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys do check that out. It's a lot of fun. I feel like I should recommend the Netflix version as like an introductory into go get it on your console at this point.
For sure.
I've been like, it doesn't play on my old iPad. I'm just like, I need this on the big screen. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine for mobile, but I'm like, nah, I'm old. I need bigger icons. So we'll be updating that here shortly, and I hope you guys do check it out and pick it up and support our friends. So there was a pay-per-view this weekend, the Wrestle Dream. Our friend Tina was there both nights. She's Wrestle Dreaming in Seattle all weekend with Collision back to back with Wrestle Dream. It really kind of felt like a Forbidden Door 2, or two, like second for the year kind of thing. I gotta say, damn good wrestling show, top to bottom. But of course, the biggest news from the weekend is some guy named Adam coming out. Mike.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of a guy named Adam.
A guy named Adam. He looks like a guy that used to be on the show. I guess we can say formerly known as Edge officially.
Yeah, I'm still gonna call him Edge.
Yeah, he's gonna be Edge to all of us. MJF couldn't even keep it out of his mouth. That's just staring daggers from Tony Khan on that one. But he has everything else. He has everything else but the Edge name. He's a rated R superstar. He's coming out the Metalingus, which I figured he would because that is his buddies. Gave him kind of the permission for that song and everything, right?
We're still kind of holding out hope for Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie. He hates the Rob Zombie song. Did you know that?
I know. I was still holding that hope.
He just it just wasn't vibing with me.
I just want to do Madurango. No, I'm behind I just want to,
and
knock that out.
And that new intro, the you think you know him, Beth Phoenix is the word on that. So very cool. I love we live in this era where music can follow people like this. Like we figured out we don't need to recreate. Well, I know it's like rights. Hey, Jim Johnston didn't write this, so we can do something with this. The Cody Rhodes song was a what's the name of their? I almost said Dire Straits. Down Straight. Anyways, either way, so that got to come with him to WWE. In Living Color song came with CM Punk to AEW. I love that this is kind of happening. Look at that expensive fucking song that I noticed they didn't use this weekend. So no, I think that's a really cool vibe that they're able to do that, and it is basically everything but Edge, on this thing. So interesting way to cap things off. I think you kind of knew when Christian and Darby were the main event that something wild was going to happen. Also, they're destroying.
I mean, they didn't have a world title match.
They didn't have a world title match, but I really thought that
they didn't have a women's world title match.
I thought that Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. was for sure going to be the main event.
No, I didn't think so.
No? Okay. I don't know. It was a stack card either way. James, you've seen the clips with you're an old school Edge fan here. What did you think about him moving over to AEW?
Dude, I've been watching the hype train since the end of Edge's contract rumors started. Because I think Christian Cage is doing better work now than he's ever done. Right? It's so much fun, dude.
Oh, I talked about last week. I watched a 13-minute video of just Christian Cage talking about people's dead parents and just being shitty to people. It's just amazing,
dude. So good. And then in general, when is Gangrel coming over? He's available.
Oh, well, now it's
around.
definitely going to happen.
It's definitely going to happen. I've been regretting not putting him in the WrestleQuest for years because he was the person that connected with the Luna Vagina State. And he was such a reasonable, friendly ambassador too. And I've heard such great things.
Dude, yeah, no, he's on calling basis with some of our wrestling friends.
Isn't
just
the name
weird.
Gangrel also licensed somewhere else? So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
a bit of a rigmarole.
So basically, it's a Marvel IP that's been abandoned, but yet not used in that category.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I just can't wait to see what they do with him in AEW because they got to do something, right? And he's still active, independent. Gangrel is, and it's such a layout for fandom. It really is.
I was just kind of curious about the Marvel Gangrel thing, and all I came up with, I didn't know that Squared Circle Comics did a Gangrel comic book.
Dude, yeah, no doubt. And it's I just can't wait to see what happens with now the Edge is over there. They got to do something. It's just
be fun.
I'm such a sucker for the legend stuff.
I do want to make a request to Tony Khan. so I know he listens. Don't do the ladder match. Don't. Just Matt and Jeff are not spring chickens anymore.
I'm ready for a Fang and a Bangin' match. You know, that's got to happen, right? Girls, teeth-based gimmicks. Like, why don't we have more of these?
I just wonder what the AEW version of a bloodbath is going to be.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be like the new leader of House of Black. He could. I mean, we could do so much with this, right, Mike?
I mean, God, I don't know if I want to see Edge lead another brooding crew.
Oh no, I meant Gangrel.
Oh, Gangrel. Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
I think that's a perfect. Or does this become? I mean, I don't know. We did have like the phases of Edge in his return. We had the Gangrel mode. We had the. I don't know what the sparkly helmet mode was when he did Mania this year. I have to watch that back.
Well, no, the sparkly helmet was he's preparing to be the God of War in Percy Jackson in December. So
there you go.
that might be where that was coming in.
So and it's interesting because like the word is that this was kind of known since like Midsummer. Although the timing I think works out really well because it's kind of replaced CM Punk's position there as the like superstar.
And now FTR has a new friend.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah.
By the way, start the clock until you see rated FTR shirts on Pro Wrestling.
Oh, it's gonna
start
happen.
that clock. Start that clock. It's gonna happen.
I love that. I love the I watched the media scrum. Well, okay, I watched the first bit of the media scrum, a 2.5 hour scrum. Holy shit. And
did anyone eat cupcakes, Sorg?
There was no cupcakes, but man, Edge was very, very happy. It was just very palpable. I love the story about we've seen the intro where he's driving the car through the streets of Seattle, right? They drive.
Was it a Durango? Number 99?
I don't know. It'd be great if that was. And he's telling a story about how how he was staying out in Redmond. And one of the things was like one person recognized me, and it was I think he was going in to get he's going to a restaurant or something, grab some food, and one guy kind of looked up, he's like, Edge, and he's like did the little shush motion, and he just like nodded emphatically, and then it didn't get out, but he's like, yeah, Darby took me to all these neighborhoods that nobody was going to give a shit that I was there. And he said something about holding the cameraman out the back of a van while they're shooting the car coming up Gum Alley. And I'm just like, he's like, that was exciting. I've never done that. And like, yeah, because any production, any cool things they did in WWE, there was a team there to do it, right? Mm-hmm. Like that. I think that's one thing I do like about AEW is you can tell like there's a little bit more passion and guerrilla. Like we were talking before about productions. Like I love guerrilla production, right? I love the doing like what can you do with like the least stuff, and there's a video I shared in the video production Slack that we have here at Sorgatron Media, and it was from BTE this week, and they're doing a walk-in for the Young Bucks for one of the shows this past week, and it's like a camera guy, an audio guy. Sitting on a gear case being rolled backwards to do the approach, and like I just really appreciate those kinds of situations. But anyways, so he seems excited about like I love the things he brought up. He's like, I never faced Samoa Joe, and WWE. He says about WWE they grew apart. They really didn't have anything for him. What? They're like, what? Like, and I understand like WWE like wants you to be this marquee legend guy, and they're only going to put certain matches together for you, right? Not just like a match to like just kill it, right? And I think that's where AEW kind of comes in differently. So I don't know. What do you think about James? What do you about the possibilities there?
I'm super hyped. I love that he like called out during the scrum his like 12 or 14 matches he has in his mind, and it's like super exciting for a fan, man.
Oh yeah. And we're starting with Luchasaurus next week.
Dude, yeah, I love it, first of all. And I think there should be more luchador dinosaur intersections across everything. Huge luchador fan, but I'm such a Jeff Jarrett mark. I like tune into AEW sometimes for that. You know? It's like I just love watching him work. It just kills me.
God, like didn't Edge and Jeff Jarrett have a feud like way back in the day?
Oh yeah, you better believe that.
Edge was Jeff Jarrett's first match in WWE.
Oh, we gotta have a callback to
history.
that.
Back to Over the Edge '99. Edge was Sable's mystery tag team partner.
Mm. Yeah, poor Sable. She's never gonna make an AEW run, huh? That's too bad.
I don't think she has to
Probably
now.
not.
Maybe Brock will get bored. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, wouldn't be surprised if eventually we see the Garcia twins against the Inspiration. That wouldn't surprise me if we see that in the long run down the line.
That could be fun. That could be fun, actually.
I'm a fan.
It could be, but Tony Khan would have to care about women's wrestling by then. So
once a show,
we'll
we
have
gotta
to
get
see.
I love the shade for AEW women's wrestling.
Oh, this is a constant thing. Like
It's
Mike
pri-
is
it's
Mike
pride.
is responding
No, but
to Tony
see, the
Khan's
thing
tweets.
is, it's pride
Here we go.
in AEW women's wrestling. I want to see more of it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more of it.
I think it's
they
actually a
have the
strength.
tools.
I think it's
they
a strength
have
for
the
AEW.
talent.
I think their women's wrestling's good. I think they put on good content. I think that they've been a major driver to actually maybe elicit a stronger response from WWE for women's wrestling. I think they probably were useful in like maybe waking up a little bit of extra energy there, but yeah, they could definitely do more. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
There was 9 minutes on that 13-hour show.
Yeah, it was
Just
wasn't
straight
balanced,
up
man.
women's wrestling.
It was a good match, though. It was at least it was a good match, and we had a big
Okay,
stag.
yeah, that's great. It's not equal. It's not even close to being equal.
Okay.
They have three women's championships. Only one of them was defended.
And 2 were represented. So no, I got you there. Aside from that ongoing issue that we
Yes.
have to address every show.
I will address it until they fix it.
I know.
And
I
honestly,
know,
Raw
I
last
know.
night was no better. Raw last night was no better.
They started
Raw
with the
had-
women, though.
They
That was-
started with the women, but there was no match.
Oh, there
I thought
wasn't.
that would result in a tag team match or something.
Yeah, they set up for next week, didn't they? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hot start. It was a good
Yeah.
setup. Don't get me wrong. I really liked it.
They did also
If
have a
it
match
sets up for
later.
a fatal 4-way,
Mhm.
that's even better.
And we did
But
have
there
a
was no.
we did have a
I want 'em.
match. We did have a match at least. So
Yeah, it was like a 2-minute
yeah.
Tegan Knox squash match. Which, don't get me wrong. Again, I love a Tegan Knox squash match. Anything to put Tegan Knox over. More.
Also,
for me.
remember we were
but-
supposed to have the championship match. Obviously, we
Yeah.
obviously we hot-shotted the IC title, championship match over.
Yeah, because Becky got her arm.
Yeah, so
Dunk
things are
open.
going to happen. Hey, the show was weird.
true.
Probably some people got hurt or something, right? So that's it's like AEW. Like I was watching the thing about how they had to cobble together gear for Nick Jackson because too many people got hurt and they had to throw him in a match. Things happen. I think 3 people got hurt the week before at AEW. So wrestling, it ain't ballet, and sometimes you gotta move stuff around, right? So. Talk about production issues. Jeez, I know cards subject to change. When I get that list and have to make graphics and stuff, I know I got to be ready for it, right? So, anyways, but no, I mentioned I think it's a good play. I think he's going to be a good partner for them, and one we don't have to worry about going off the rails here.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. Edge is going to be nothing but good news for them.
What I didn't see the full quote, but Shawn Michaels was somewhere saying that he'd love to have CM Punk in NXT.
That's really funny.
So
Honestly, that would be a fascinating character.
wouldn't it? Wouldn't it though?
That would be fascinating.
I want to see if I can pull that up real quick, but that was like
I want to see CM Punk join the Metaphor.
Oh jeez.
like there's a chance that WWE is gonna pick him up, right? Like it's a non-zero chance.
Yeah, and I feel
Well,
like
see, the thing is, like, if CM Punk did go to WWE, he's not gonna be able to throw his weight around backstage like he did in AEW.
no.
Sure,
There's just
so,
like the second he does any of that, he's fucking gone.
so I think comparatively, let's say hypothetically we're brought CM Punk into WWE. I think he would not be a weekly guy. He would not be anything. He would be a special attraction guy. And I think you just put him in a box over here away from
fight
people. Well, you're close because I was going to say like Brock Lesnar, right?
I'd probably say more I'd say like Logan Paul.
WWE like AEW wants to bring people in and have them be part of the team to make everything better because they're trying to elevate a lot of lot more younger talent that WWE is, right? Because they don't have that base that WWE has of solid legends, long-time guys to depend on. So they're still like, we were talking about like not giving them for being a young company, but they that is one of the things where they do not have an advantage. But WWE can be like, you're gonna make us a lot of money, we're gonna put you over here in your bus, and you're not gonna fuck with the rest of our show.
Right.
That is one thing they know how to do. They've done it a lot. Like Rock's going to sit over here and nobody's going to bother him. Brock is going to sit over here and nobody's going to bother him. Logan Paul is going to just be way over here and nobody's going to bother him. Like they have no problem.
And we got rid of Riddle, so we can bring Goldberg back in anytime.
Exactly. So like, okay. And also there will be something in that contract that says you will not do X, Y, defamatory on the company, X, Y, and Z. Like they're because especially with this prior, situation, I think that's going to be, I think
this run did CM Punk no favors. Didn't give him any bargaining chips.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, maybe there's a spike in the numbers, but I don't even know.
It didn't even really reflect on the AEW ratings.
No. So
like his returns were spiked, yeah, but once he was a regular mainstay on the show, it didn't pop any numbers at all.
Yeah. So either way, we'll see how that goes. Anything else from the show that kind of stuck out to you, Mike?
Well, I didn't get a chance to watch all of Wrestle Dream yet.
Okay.
We had our baby shower this weekend, so my mind was elsewhere.
You are involved. I understand. So, but it was a nice variety of wrestling matches.
Baby shower would be a good gimmick match. For sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
A rattle hanging from a ladder up above.
That's how Alexa Bliss should return.
Super into
Baby
that.
shower gimmick match.
I think Chess Flexor had a slight gender reveal in one of his hardcore matches recently.
Slight gender reveal.
A slight
Just
gender reveal?
just a
I don't know
partial.
if you can
Like
slightly
there was
reveal a gender.
like I think there was. Maybe this is a fever dream. I don't know because it's Chest Flexor and I don't know what's real and what's not. Because they had one of those like color popper like things, and I think he popped it in somebody's face, and it was the gender reveal, right? I feel like that's something that happened. Somebody correct me here. I feel like that's something that happened, or I felt like should have happened. But either way, so yeah. I don't know where to go from that. No, it was a really good match. Even the MJF goofy handicap tag match was tremendous. And man, if MJF doesn't sound like a company guy with a lot of swears, but he's a company guy on that media scrum. I was kind of taken back because he talked about like he actually pointed at somebody in the front row and says, You called my match like it was fine, but it was a gimmick match. He's like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying, and he gave the whole like flavors of ice cream thing, and I'm just like, why the fuck does he sound like Triple H right now? And he talked about AEW being a variety show and this and that and the other thing. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening right here?
I don't know what kind of media training MJF has had, but when I watch those scrums, there is a marked difference from when anyone from WWE is talking, when MJF is talking, and then when someone who's homegrown in AEW is talking, because you can tell there's training in what MJF says.
People that know how to talk to an audience. Yeah, and he's done. I mean, he's been doing acting and things like that. So I think he's, or maybe there was
one of my friends actually worked with him on a movie recently.
Really? Yeah, he's got.
She's a costume designer.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire too. So and I think that probably contributes to him not wrestling as regularly, kind of thing. Which that's a good place if you doing a lot of projects, right? So,
although it sucks about Adam Cole's injury.
Absolutely,
we should mention that.
Did he
had to pull out of Comic-Con too, and I'm very upset about that.
Ooh, so he was it stepping off the ramp at Grand Slam?
Yes.
Wow.
By the way, get rid of the ramp.
Yeah, the ramp is
rid of
becoming
the
a
ramp.
problem, isn't it?
Yes.
Like your top star was
rid of the
injured
ramp.
going down the steps or hopping off the ramp for a run-in. That's a problem.
Yep.
I don't know. That's like the CM Punk crowd surfing and breaking his
it is.
ankle or something like that.
Yep.
And it's a freak thing. Like it's not like okay, maybe you shouldn't crowd surf in the damn fans, right? Okay. Like maybe that's a bad
No, the
idea.
Adam Cole thing was a freak thing.
Yeah.
The CM Punk thing, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, you're also, throwing yourself at the mat multiple times every week, So I don't know.
But now with a barricade in the way.
Yes, that's true. I don't know. I've seen some luchadors I thought break their freaking legs hitting the you've seen this at indie shows,
but
right?
Sorg,
I mean,
that's a 20-year-old luchador, not a 45-year-old bitter man.
Oh, I've seen some flying bitter men before. Show title.
Flying bitter man.
It was gonna be WrestleQuest, but I think that's gonna have to be the. I'm sorry.
So many opportunities for
WrestleQuest
DLC.
featuring
There
Flying
you go.
Bitter Men.
Flying Bitter Men and WrestleQuest.
There we go.
Doesn't Flying Bitterman sound like a character we could have made? It's pretty strong, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Take some notes for the
Um,
DLC.
by the way,
and,
I do have one request for a sequel to WrestleQuest, if that does occur.
I'm listening closely. You're dressed for the
Um,
occasion.
More content similar to WWE Crush Hour.
Be more specific.
I want someone to have the twisty rockets.
That's a good contribution. I'm glad to take that under advisement and bring it to the team.
Excellent.
listen, he's been trying to bring Crush Hour back for 15
We
years.
should.
I mean,
Yeah, we should.
I mean,
I get it. Dude. Yeah.
Hey, between John Cena having a missile-loaded car in Fast 10 and Samoa Joe in literally Twisted Metal, we're getting closer.
I mean, you got these licenses
Steps.
now, right? I mean, is it hard?
I won't spoil it for you, but we got a gimmick match that takes place on a truck in the game.
Oh my God!
It gets pretty crazy. There's a lot of action there.
Yes. Okay. I'm excited.
Fantastic. I'm always.
Is it like the Blacktop Bully match from WCW?
I can't spoil it. All I know
Oh,
is that
okay.
I think you're just gonna be satisfied.
Damn it!
I'm
Damn it!
excited.
God,
I'm
I need to.
excited.
I need to carve
We
out.
shear the sheep,
I feel
okay?
good
The
about
sheep
this.
gets sheared. There's layers. There's
layers.
depth.
There's literally layers.
Yeah.
It's
there's
like a
depth.
sheepy onion.
Yeah, 100%. There's so much, so many nooks and crannies. Like, if you ever feel lonely, just look through our social media of wrestling fans uncovering the Easter eggs. There's hundreds of
Oh
them.
no!
Yeah.
Oh no! Jeez, I gotta carve out 50 hours on this guy. All right. On that note, hey, I'm gonna give a shout out, and we're gonna find out what we learned. Chat room, what did you learn from wrestling? What did you learn about video games tonight? But in the meantime, I learned our good friend Slice on Broadway, always supporting our show for over a decade now. Feeding our guests, feeding everybody that comes in for the Tuesday night shows, including this an awesome cast. Thank you to our friends. More locations are listed because I can't keep up with them anymore. Rico's been like spreading like a pizza, a delicious pizza virus. That's a terrible ad. But thank you to our friends. Go check them out. SliceOnBroadway.com here in the Pittsburgh area. So guys, what did you learn from wrestling this week? James, what did you learn? What is the biggest thing? You talked a lot about your involvement with wrestling. What is the biggest thing you learned about wrestling from your project?
I would say I have a new education and perspective on the legal intricacies of trademark protection across the wrestling industry.
We should have had David Lawless on here to talk legal with
Dude,
you.
We could go a couple episodes deep.
Because I mean, he was on when Sean Spears took the Reaper gimmick trademark out from under Matt Connard, a local wrestler. We had him on talking about the intricacies of trademarks and why you should as an independent wrestler.
Dude, without getting into details, we helped a number of legends and estates actually get legal representation, recover abandoned trademarks, like
Really?
solidify. Like it's been a journey for sure. But
Wow.
that's been the steepest part. But I guess beyond that, it's like anything's possible if you're willing to just be very, very detail oriented and diligent. There's really no specific rules or just guide rails you have to abide by. So you can really find ways to get any of these things done as long as you're working like with everybody in the same direction. So it's all out there. It's like I just wonder why no one has done this before. That's,
And now you know the answers to that question.
no doubt. Yeah, for sure.
You're going to have to write a book or something about this at some point down the line.
Dude, at this point, I don't even know what to do with all that. It feels like a waste of knowledge to have someone else.
Sounds
have to learn
like
it
a
again.
Conrad podcast.
Oh my gosh, it does. Yeah. Actually, like, I was reintroduced to a ton of. We were just talking about this at the start of the show. My favorite things last year is I went to a ton of indie shows. I haven't been to indie shows often in a while. I used to go like maybe once a year. I'd see a local thing on Southside and sit down. But we see AEW every time they're in town. Like it's like I just can't tell you how fun it's been. Like reintroducing myself to things like wrestling podcasts. And the best content that I've consumed in wrestling has actually been all these fan creators and all these things I've been exposed to through the WrestleQuest journey. So it's been awesome to almost reinvigorate some of my fandom at the very end of this like lifelong effort. So that's been a ton of fun. And thank you, wrestling fans, for showing up. My people, the whole time everyone says they're not enough of them. They're not vocal enough. They're not going to buy. They don't like RPGs. They sure do.
Awesome. Mike, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
All right, so I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with the new with this game it's kind of like Wordle, but it's for sports called Crossover Grid.
Okay.
Where it's a 9x9 grid, and it's different stats, and you have to fill in with different players.
Like I'm finding an NBA one right now.
No, I put a link in the chat room.
Okay.
They have one for WWE. And
So
it
it's the-
refreshes every
it's-
day.
It's WWE Wordle?
Kinda.
Oh no, what is this?
Only a little bit better. So like
there we go.
today's grid is Sorg has it on the screen. Someone who has won the WCW Cruiserweight title, but has also faced Eddie Guerrero. And then
that's awesome.
below that, there's someone who's won the WWE Light Heavyweight title, but has
Dude,
also faced Eddie.
Why did we make WrestleQuest? We could have made this.
So wait, so I'm looking for somebody who has won the WCW Cruiserweight title but faced Eddie Guerrero.
Yes, there are many options. It's funny when you finish the grid. What they do is they show you you can pick each box, and you can try to get all of the people that were in it, like all the people that qualify. And sometimes there's not a lot of people.
So like let's say
Eddie. There are 20 people who have won the Cruiserweight title and faced Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
Yeah. So you put Eddie for facing Rey Mysterio and winning the WWE Cruiserweight title. There's a lot. There's a lot, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah, and it refreshes every day.
Oh, we're gonna save that to
And-
bookmarks.
And you can also go grid history, and you can play all the past ones too.
Oh, jeez, grid history. Let's
The
see.
little box right at the top there where it
Yeah,
says
I'm
grid
in,
history.
I'm in it. So like for another comparison point, somebody who's on the roster of AEW at All Out 2022, but also is a former IC champion. I'm going to take a shot in the dark. That's Christian Cage.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be a little bit finicky with the names that come up. 'Cause- No, it should just be Christian probably, because they have the birthdays there, so
okay,
they
there we
show
go.
you.
22%. They didn't have a picture for him. Interesting. Okay, that's the new addiction, I guess. From the chat room, Tina learned that it makes me smile. It brings a smile to my face to see friends of the show and love the pay-per-view being like a Baskin Robbins. There's a bit of something for everyone, and the crowd stayed with it throughout the ride. Yeah, nothing really dipped on that pay-per-view on Sunday, and I love that WWE also had like a killer show too. So there definitely was a lot for everybody these days. So that's also the biggest thing. There's a lot of things. Don't do like I do, where I'm trying to watch everything. Because it's getting really hard. But like, pick a thing, pick two things, something like that, and just kind of have fun with that. Who was an IC champion who faced Cody Rhodes? Damn it! I need to stop doing this. Damn it! I need to stop doing this. What did I
It's a lot of
learn?
fun.
What did I learn from wrestling this week? Oh my god! What did I learn from wrestling that I can tell you about? I think I should narrow that down. I learned that I need to get and play more JRPGs, for one thing. To wrap my head around this. Oh my god! So I learned that super glue, was it?
You said super glue?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
For the
analog.
game,
It's
yeah.
analog.
Avoid the
Hey,
same.
model glue, super
Avoid
glue.
avoid the glue. Avoid the glue, guys.
You got to stay on the road sometimes, dude. Keep those limbs moving.
Yeah.
Finish the job.
Oh my God! Thank you, James, for so much for joining us. It's always great to have you. And it's been so long. We need to make sure it's not so long. We gotta get you in here for one of the DLCs or something when that comes out. All right?
Now we're talking.
There we go.
Thanks for having me.
There you go. Thanks. Let's not make sure it's not going to be quite as long. Mad Mike, good luck with all the things you're dealing with right now. All of your life changes.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's
There'll
a
be
lot.
a lot more. In
The
like,
baby, another Mayhem baby on the way.
Baby shower gimmick match.
Yeah. Can we have like
Baby
a
shower.
podcast baby shower of sorts?
I mean, we could.
There you go. There you go.
We could. We've actually been measuring our weeks by Tuesdays. So.
You're measuring your weeks by Tuesdays.
Well, that's when we found out. So we're 33 weeks officially today.
Oh, there you go. 33,
Yeah.
33 episodes of
33
the Mayhem.
weeks.
Oh, no. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Patreon will be hopping on, and Mike and I at least are going to be chatting whatever the hell we're going to chat. I got a couple ideas maybe. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Mayhem out.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.